Okay, imagine this. An AI model just scored a perfect 100% on the American Invitational Mathematics examination. Now, this is a test that's so challenging. I mean, even a lot of human math experts, university professors included, really struggle to pass it.
Yeah, it's notoriously tough.
Right. Or picture an AI nearly doubling the performance of its closest competitors on something called Humanity's Last Exam. Sounds dramatic, I know, but it's this huge benchmark, like 2,500 graduate-level questions trying to test actual human-level reasoning across, well, pretty much everything.
It's not science fiction anymore, is it? This stuff is really here.
Exactly. Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging right into the core of xAI's newest creation, this formidable thing called Grok 4 Heavy.
And it really is formidable.
It is. And look, this isn't just some minor update in the AI world, which, let's be honest, moves incredibly fast. This feels like a genuinely monumental leap forward. The implications for how we learn, how we work, how we create things, they're honestly staggering. So our mission today is to really peel back the layers, understand what makes Grok 4 Heavy so uniquely powerful.
Figure out the why behind it.
Exactly. Where is it already making a real impact? And maybe most importantly, what does its existence tell us about where AI is headed, like right now?
Yeah.
You might have heard bits and pieces, seen headlines, but we're going deep. We'll unpack the tech innovations, look at those frankly staggering performance numbers, and explore how it's kind of aggressively popping up in our digital lives.
Right. And this deep dive, it's really about getting under the hood, understanding the why and the how behind an AI that's built on just an unprecedented scale. And it functions, well, less like a simple chatbot just reacting and more like this collaborative study group of specialized AI minds.
A study group. I like that analogy.
Yeah, it's about understanding a technology that really starts to blur the lines between, say, a digital assistant and a genuine intellectual partner.
Yeah.
Something that can kind of think alongside you.
You've set the stage perfectly there. It's ambitious. But before we get maybe too carried away with all the applications and scores, let's, like you said, get under the hood. Let's really understand the foundations. So the first big question, what is Grok 4 Heavy? What are these core innovations driving this beast?
Okay, so at its very core, Grok 4 Heavy is built on this just massive large language model architecture. We're talking roughly 1.7 trillion parameters.
1.7 trillion.
Trillion, yeah. And just to give some perspective, especially for folks who follow AI closely, that number alone, it just blows most competitors out of the water. Many are still operating in the hundreds of billions.
Right.
So it's not just big, it's enormous. It's really pushing the boundaries of what's even computationally possible right now in AI development.
So what does that many parameters actually do? Why is bigger better here?
Well, you can think of each parameter as like a tiny adjustable knob or switch in this vast interconnected network.
Yeah.
Having so many allows Grok to learn incredibly subtle patterns and complex relationships within massive amounts of data. It enables a level of, nuance and depth in its understanding that models with fewer parameters just can't quite reach.
Okay, 1.7 trillion parameters. It's still kind of mind-boggling. Is it just one giant computational block, or is there something more sophisticated about the architecture?
That's where the hybrid modular design comes in. And this is really critical. It's one of the things that sets Grok 4 Heavy apart. It's not just one big monolithic block trying to do everything.
Okay.
Instead, it actually contains multiple specialized neural subsystems. Think of them almost like distinct brain regions, right?
Yeah.
Each one is carefully optimized for different kinds of thinking, different cognitive tasks.
Just like specialists?
Exactly. It's like having an elite, highly specialized team. You've got dedicated modules, say, for really complex code generation. Others are fine-tuned for understanding the subtleties of human language. And then you've got distinct ones engineered specifically for advanced mathematical reasoning and problem solving.
Right.
Each of these specialized team members brings its unique, deep skill set to the table. They work together in concert to tackle problems much more effectively than a single generalist AI ever could.
Okay, a specialized team. That makes sense. But then there's this other layer you mentioned, the study group, multi-agent architecture. This is where it starts to sound really different. Can you help us picture what that actually means? How do these AI minds talk to each other?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question because it really gets to the heart of Grok's unique approach, especially for complex problems.
Yeah.
So instead of just one model trying to figure everything out on its own,
Right.
Grok 4 Heavy actually spins up multiple distinct AI agents, running them in parallel. Imagine each one tackling the problem from a slightly different perspective. or maybe focusing on one specific part of a bigger challenge.
So like one looks at the language, one looks at the math.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
Or one might specialize in recalling relevant facts from its vast knowledge base, while another focuses on the logical steps needed. But here's the key part. Once they've each done their initial processing, they don't just stop.
Okay.
They then actively collaborate. They share their findings. They cross-verify insights. They might even challenge each other's assumptions internally before they collectively arrive at a final synthesized answer.
Wow, okay, so they're actually debating internally in a sense.
In a way, yeah. It's this team-based reasoning that allows for much deeper, more accurate, and more robust problem solving, especially for those really tricky, multi-step, or logically complex questions. The agents can literally check each other's work, spot potential errors, and handle different subtasks at the same time. You're bringing the collective intelligence of several AI minds together on one problem. And xAI found this was incredibly effective for those tough, logical puzzles or complex reasoning tasks that often trip up single, monolithic models. It's a real shift from just pattern matching to more like distributed collaborative thinking.
That's fascinating, a kind of internal brain trust. So how on earth do you train something like that? Something that not only learns from huge amounts of data, but also learns to reason deeply and work collaboratively. What did the training involve?
Yeah, it definitely required pushing the boundaries of how we train AI. So Grok 4 was trained on an absolutely immense and incredibly diverse data set, a huge corpus of information.
Okay.
And the sources highlight something really interesting. xAI reportedly used the full Twitter, or X, fire hose. That's the complete real-time stream of all public posts and all the content linked from them. That was a significant chunk of its training data.
Wait, the full Twitter fire hose, not just a snapshot, but the live ongoing stream.
Exactly. That's not a static data set from a year ago. It's dynamic, constantly updating with human conversation, breaking news, cultural trends, everything happening right now.
Which implies it has this up-to-the-minute awareness that most other models trained on older, fixed data sets just wouldn't have.
Precisely. That real-time feed gives Grok a pretty unparalleled current awareness of global events and public discourse. It's a big advantage.
Okay, so Twitter plus what else?
Well, alongside that dynamic stream, it also ingested massive amounts of high-quality text. Books, academic papers, websites, huge code repositories, and other varied data sets. xAI hasn't given the exact recipe, the full mix, but it's broad.
Right.
But, what's arguably even more crucial than just the sheer volume of data is the training process itself. They used what xAI calls heavy reinforcement learning.
Heavy reinforcement learning, what does that entail?
It's not just about passively feeding it data. It's about actively, rigorously fine-tuning its behavior, and crucially, its internal thought processes using sophisticated human feedback loops.
Okay, so what kind of behavior were they trying to encourage with this heavy reinforcement?
The goal was specifically to push Grok beyond simple next word prediction, to encourage it to engage in deliberate step-by-step reasoning. Think about how a human expert solves a really tough problem. They don't just jump to the answer. They might think out loud, right? Break the problem down, explore different angles, maybe backtrack and correct themselves.
Yeah, work it through.
Grok was trained to do something analogous internally. It often goes through this extensive internal thought process, like a researcher working through a proof or a programmer debugging code before it actually finalizes and presents an answer.
So it's reasoning internally before speaking externally.
Exactly. And the philosophical point xAI makes is important here. The result is an AI that's designed to prioritize truth-seeking and reasoning depth over just speed or giving a superficial answer. They describe it as operating exclusively as a reasoning model, aiming for accuracy and logical consistency, even if it takes a bit longer.
That's a big claim, truth-seeking.
It is. It shifts the goal from just being helpful to being verifiably correct, which could change how much we trust AI outputs, especially for critical tasks. And interestingly, this intense training also led to specialized parts developing within the model dedicated attention heads for things like math and coding.
Attention heads.
Yeah, think of them as neural networks inside the main network that learn to focus or pay more attention to specific types of information. So when Grok sees a math problem, these specialized parts activate, allowing it to leverage skills fine-tuned just for that domain. It developed these specialized skills almost organically through the training.
Okay, so it's a massive, modular, collaborative reasoner trained on real-time data and encouraged to think deeply. To actually run something like this with all those agents and deep thinking, The computing power must be astronomical, right?
Astronomical is a good word for it. Monumental, definitely. Achieving this scale, running those multiple agents, maintaining that huge context window we'll talk about, it required an absolutely unprecedented investment in compute.
So what are we talking about hardware-wise?
Grok 4 Heavy was trained on xAI's custom-built Colossus supercomputer. The reports mention it being equipped with around 200,000 NVIDIA GPUs.
200,000 GPUs.
Yeah, just pause and think about that scale. That's hundreds of millions of dollars purely in hardware investment. It just shows the sheer computational muscle needed for a model this complex and its multi-agent approach. Yeah. It's not just buying GPUs, it's engineering a whole system to manage that distributed workload.
Wow, okay. And all that power you mentioned enables an extremely large context window. Can you break that down? What does context window mean in practice, and why is Grok's size significant?
Sure. So for folks who aren't deep in the AI jargon, a token is basically the smallest unit an AI processes. Could be a word, part of a word, like running, or even just punctuation. The context window is how much of that information the AI can hold in its active memory at one time while it's working on a response.
Like it's short-term memory.
Exactly. And Grok 4 Heavy's standard model can handle up to 130,000 tokens. That translates to roughly 100,000 words. Think like the length of a decent-sized novel.
Okay, that's already huge compared to older models.
It is. And for premium API users, it jumps even higher, up to an astonishing 256,000 tokens. That's over 200,000 words.
Good grief. So why is that massive context window such a big deal? What can you do with it?
Well, it's a total game changer for complex tasks. It means Grok can ingest and reason coherently over incredibly long pieces of text without forgetting what happened earlier. You could feed it an entire book, hours of meeting transcripts, massive legal documents, or even huge software code bases.
And it remembers the beginning by the time it gets to the end.
Precisely. It can analyze these huge inputs and reason about the whole thing without losing the thread or making stuff up because it forgot earlier details. This is absolutely key for deep analysis. Imagine asking it to summarize the core arguments across an entire philosophy book or debug a massive software project by feeding it all the code. Or find subtle contradictions in a complex legal contract. It maintains that deep understanding across vast amounts of information.
That enables tasks that were just impossible before. But I imagine running that kind of computation, handling that much context, especially in the heavy multi-agent mode, that can't be cheap for xAI.
Oh, absolutely not. Running Grok with those huge contexts or firing up the full heavy multi-agent system is incredibly computationally intensive, and therefore very expensive.
So how does that translate to users?
Well, these top-tier features, the really powerful stuff, are primarily available to higher-tier subscribers. For instance, the Super Grok Heavy subscription costs around $300 a month currently.
$300 a month, okay.
And that price directly reflects the significant cloud resources, the sheer GPU horsepower required to spin up those agents and process all that data in real time. It tells you that right now, the full brain power comes at a premium. It's more of a professional-grade tool for its most advanced capabilities, not quite mass market yet. Scaling that power affordably is a big challenge for them.
Fascinating. Okay, so we've got the architecture, the scale, the training, the compute power. But Grok 4 Heavy isn't just about text, right? The sources mention it's pushing into other areas like multimodal processing. What can it do beyond words?
Right. It has what xAI describes as rudimentary multimodal processing skills. Basically, its architecture isn't limited to just text inputs. It can accept images, and there are hints of it handling some audio or video inputs too, and then it can integrate that visual or auditory information into its reasoning.
So I could show it a picture, and it could actually understand what it's seeing, like analyze a complex diagram or describe a photo?
Yes, exactly. It could look at an image or a diagram, describe the contents, answer specific questions about it. You could say, upload a technical schematic and ask it to explain a component, or show it a picture of a plant and ask it to identify it.
Right.
But it's important to be realistic here. While it's capable, the sources acknowledge limitations. It's not yet as sophisticated as highly specialized vision-only AI models for really intricate visual tasks. xAI is actively working on improving this, though.
And can it create images too, or just analyze them?
It can also generate them. There's an integrated generative visual module, so you can give it a prompt, and it can create an image. Again, this is still in the early stages, and they plan big improvements for both generation quality and deeper visual understanding.
Any examples of what it can create now?
Yeah, they've shown demos where it created things like a frame for a comic strip based on a description, or even humorous, quirky images like an origami Cybertruck.
An origami Cybertruck. Okay, that definitely paints a picture of its creative, maybe slightly whimsical potential. Now, beyond understanding and generating content, the sources talk about native tool use. This sounds like it can actually do things, not just process information. What does that mean for a user?
Yeah, this is a really powerful feature that dramatically expands what Grok can actually achieve for you. It means Grok 4 can decide on its own to use external tools or APIs if it thinks it needs them to answer your question properly or complete a task you've given it.
Wait, so it's not just pulling from its training data. It can actively go out and get new info or perform actions.
Exactly. In practice, this means Grok can, say, autonomously run a piece of code to perform a calculation, or browse the live internet to get the absolute latest information, or query an external database if needed.
Give me an example.
Okay, say you ask it about the current weather in London, or the latest stock price for Apple, or what's happening with a breaking news story. Grok realizes its internal knowledge might be slightly old for that. So it intelligently decides to call an internet search tool, or maybe a specific weather API, fetches that live up-to-the-minute information, and then integrates it into its answer for you. It doesn't just rely on potentially stale data.
That's a big deal. It reminds me of OpenAI's function calling or plugin systems, but it sounds like it's built right into Grok's core. How does that change things?
It massively expands its usefulness. It lets Grok augment its knowledge in real time, do dynamic calculations, and even take actions. It really blurs the lines between being a static knowledge base and being an active, intelligent agent.
So it shifts from just telling to actually doing.
Precisely. It can query the web, run code, calculate things for you to get the best, most current answer. That makes it much more dynamic and versatile for tasks needing real-time data or verifiable computations.
Okay, this is where we get down to brass tacks. The benchmarks. How does Grok 4 Heavy actually perform when you measure it against the best AI models out there on standardized tests? Where does it really stand out?
Right, and xAI has been quite vocal and understandably proud about Grok 4 Heavy's performance here. The data shows it consistently outperforms, or at the very least, competes strongly with the top models like GPT-4, Anthropic's Claude, Google's Gemini, especially in areas needing complex multi-step reasoning.
Let's get specific. You mentioned that perfect score on the American Invitational Mathematics Examination, the AM, in the intro. That sounds almost unbelievable given how hard that test is even for humans.
It really is astonishing. A perfect 100% on 8. Just for context, this is a test for elite high school math students heading towards the Math Olympiad. It's incredibly difficult. Many experienced mathematicians struggle with it under timed conditions.
So how does 100% compare to previous AI attempts?
It's a huge leap. Grok 3 scored 52%, which was already pretty good. But 100%, that's just unprecedented for an AI in these kinds of elite math competitions. It really highlights its exceptional mathematical reasoning, especially for complex algebra, geometry, number theory problems that need intricate logical steps. It's a powerful sign of its core reasoning ability.
Truly unprecedented. Okay, so it's a math whiz. What about that humanities last exam, the HLE, that broad graduate level test?
Right, the HLE. Dramatic name, but it covers a huge range. Advanced math, physics, chemistry, biology, linguistics, computer science, engineering. 2,500 really tough questions designed to test human-level, cross-disciplinary thinking.
So how did Grok do there?
Okay, so the standard Grok 4 model, without using any external tools, scored around 25–26%. That already put it slightly ahead of competitors like Gemini 2.5 Pro, around 21.6%, and the latest GPT, around 21%.
A decent lead, but not earth-shattering for the standard model. But then there's the heavy multi-agent mode performance.
Yes, and this is where that study group architecture really shines. When Grok 4 Heavy ran in its multi-agent mode, and was allowed to use its tools so it could browse the web or run code during the exam.
Okay.
Its performance nearly doubled. It scored somewhere between 44% and 50% on HLE.
Whoa, doubled. How does that compare to others using tools?
It's a massive lead. The next best competitor, Gemini, was only around 27%, even with tools enabled. So Grok 4 Heavy answered almost half of these incredibly complex PhD-level questions correctly, while others were stuck around a quarter. It's a huge validation of that multi-agent collaborative approach for really hard multi-domain problems.
That's a staggering difference. Nearly double the score is a massive jump. What about abstract reasoning? Things like the ARC-AGI benchmark.
Yeah, ARC-AGI tests abstract pattern recognition, often seen as a proxy for more general intelligence. On the hardest version, Grok 4 scored 16.2%. Now, that might sound low,
It does seem low, yeah.
but these challenges are designed to be incredibly difficult, even for humans. They require intuitive leaps, not just knowledge recall. For comparison, Anthropic's Claude Opus 4 scored around 8.6%. So Grok roughly doubled the performance there, too.
Okay, so doubling the state of the art, even if the absolute number is low, is significant in that context. It suggests an edge in that kind of higher order thinking.
Exactly. It points towards better abstract reasoning capabilities.
And for the scientists listening, what about something like the Graduate Physics Questions Assessment, GPQA?
On GPQA, Grok 4 scored an impressive 87%. This benchmark tests deep scientific knowledge and the ability to apply complex physics principles. It's a significant jump from Grok 3's score, around 75%, and shows strong scientific understanding and cross-disciplinary thinking in physics. It can follow that intricate reasoning.
Okay, and finally, for all the coders and software engineers out there, the SWE bench, how does it do on practical coding tasks?
On SWE Bench, which is a practical software engineering test suite, Grok 4's specialized coding model hit around 72–75% accuracy.
How does that rank?
That puts it right among the very top tier of AI coding assistants. It's comparable to, in some cases reportedly better than, GPT-4 for coding. It means it can reliably handle about 3/4 of common coding tasks, writing functions, debugging, adding features, explaining code. Developers using it say it gives remarkably helpful suggestions.
These benchmark results are undeniably impressive. They provide solid numbers. But, there's always the question of hype versus reality. How do we balance this? Have these results been independently checked, or is this just xAI's own reporting?
That's a really important question. It's always wise to be a little skeptical. While xAI's reported results are strong, some observers did point out potential cherry-picking in how comparisons were presented, maybe not always showing a competitor's absolute best score or comparing against slightly older versions. You see that sometimes.
Right, standard practice maybe, but good to be aware of.
Exactly. However, it's also crucial to note that independent evaluations have largely backed up Grok 4's high performance. One well-known AI analysis firm ran its own tests and gave Grok 4 an overall intelligence index of 73.
And how does that compare?
That placed it slightly above OpenAI's latest model and Google's Gemini Pro, both of which scored 70 in their evaluation.
Okay, so independent testing generally confirms it's at the top or very near it?
Yeah, the synthesis seems to be. While you should always read benchmarks carefully, the independent data suggests Grok 4 Heavy is genuinely at, or maybe even pushing beyond, the cutting edge of LLMs in 2025. Particularly in those areas requiring deep, multi-step reasoning, complex calculations, and tough technical problems. It's a major new force in the AI landscape.
That's a clear picture. Benchmarks establish the potential, but where is this potential actually being realized? Where is Grok 4 Heavy making a real difference today? Let's start with software engineering. You said it ranks highly there. Is it really the ultimate coding assistant?
It's certainly positioned that way, and for many developers, it's already transforming how they work. The specialized Grok 4 code variant is designed specifically as a hyper-efficient coding partner.
So what can it actually do for a developer?
All sorts of things. It can generate entire functions or code blocks from a natural language description. It can look at existing code and suggest sophisticated fixes or ways to optimize it for speed or efficiency. It can even help with higher-level tasks like planning out software architecture.
Can you give a concrete example?
Sure. A developer could ask it something like, write a Python function to parse this specific JSON format, handle potential errors gracefully, and return a pandas data frame. Grok would likely generate clean, commented, functional code to do just that.
And it works within their existing tools.
Yes, that's key. It's already integrated with popular IDEs like VS Code and editors like Cursor, so it can provide real-time assistance, intelligent code completions, refactoring ideas, bug spotting right as the developer's typing.
Okay, that sounds incredibly useful. Any more flashy examples?
Well, there was that impressive public demo where xAI showed Grok 4 building a simple but functional first-person shooter game basically from scratch in about 4 hours.
Building a game in 4 hours? How?
It autonomously generated the game logic code, the controls, and even some rudimentary art assets and sound effect suggestions based on high-level prompts. It really showcases the potential to dramatically accelerate development, maybe even allowing non-coders to prototype complex ideas rapidly. It's a huge productivity booster.
Wow. Okay. From coding to classrooms. What about education and tutoring? Can an AI like Grok actually be an effective, personalized teacher?
Given its strong reasoning and its ability to explain things step by step, it's proving to be a surprisingly capable, intelligent tutoring system. Students and educators are definitely experimenting with it as a virtual tutor for tough subjects, advanced math, physics, chemistry, even history or writing.
So how would a student use it if I'm stuck on, say, entropy in physics?
You could ask it exactly that. Explain entropy in simple terms first, then give me the technical definition and maybe an analogy I can understand. Grok is known for generating these structured, layered explanations. It breaks down complex topics, shows its logical flow.
And it shows its work you mentioned earlier.
Yes, that's a huge advantage for learning. If you give it a calculus problem, it won't just give you the answer. It will typically break down the solution into logical steps, explaining how it got there. That's incredibly valuable for understanding the underlying process, not just memorizing results.
That addresses a major limitation of just getting answers from the internet.
Exactly. And thanks to that large context window, it can do more than just solve problems. It can read a long student essay and provide detailed feedback on the argumentation, evidence use, or clarity. It can tackle multi-part exam questions, demonstrating each stage.
So the vision is like a personal tutor available 24/7.
That's the vision xAI promotes, an advanced personal tutor offering tailored instruction. Users have even found it can draft lesson plans on a topic, create practice quiz questions on the fly, or even role-play scenarios. It handles those deeper why and how questions well.
Are there any caveats?
Of course. The big one is that no AI is perfect. Educators and students still absolutely need to critically evaluate the answers, verify information, especially for high-stakes learning. But as an assistant, a guide, a tireless explainer, it's showing enormous potential in education.
Okay, powerful in coding, promising in education. What about the world of scientific research and data analysis? Can Grok genuinely speed up discovery?
Researchers are definitely starting to explore its potential here, and the signs are very positive. It's being used to assist with critical, often time-consuming parts of the research process. Things like comprehensive literature reviews, analyzing complex data sets, even helping to generate new hypotheses.
How does the multi-agent heavy mode fit in here?
That's where it gets really interesting for complex research problems. In heavy mode, Grok can act almost like a small team of virtual research assistants working together. Different agents can tackle different parts of the problem simultaneously.
So like digesting huge amounts of papers.
Precisely. You could feed it, say, hundreds of recent academic papers on a specific gene or material. Grok can rapidly summarize the key findings, synthesize insights that connect different studies, point out conflicting results, and even suggest potential next steps or experiments based on the gaps it identifies.
It's like a super fast, tireless PhD student assistant.
Kind of, yeah. Its ability to handle massive text inputs and pull out the key information is a huge time saver. It can condense incredibly dense technical documents into actionable insights far faster than a human team could.
Are there examples of this beyond academic science?
Yes, there was a compelling case study where Grok's multi-agent system analyzed over 1,000 corporate financial reports.
1,000 reports. What did it find?
It successfully extracted key financial trends across different sectors, identified emerging patterns in spending or revenue, and generated a concise executive summary highlighting the most important findings, things that would take a team of human analysts days or weeks. It shows its power in distilling complex information into something digestible and actionable.
And it can help with the more formal side of science, too, like math and simulations.
Absolutely. Its strength in math and logic means it can assist with tasks like checking the steps in a complex mathematical proof, solving systems of differential equations described in a paper, or even running simple simulations based on parameters given in natural language. It's early days, but it really hints at AI becoming a fundamental tool for accelerating the entire research lifecycle.
Okay, so it's impacting specialists like coders, educators, researchers. What about just everyday productivity, general business tasks? Can Grok become that ultimate digital assistant for the rest of us?
It's definitely making a strong play in that area too, aiming to boost workplace productivity and help manage our increasingly digital lives. One of the most immediate benefits people notice is its ability to summarize things.
Summarize what kinds of things?
Long documents, endless email threads, chaotic group chat logs. It can save a huge amount of time just by condensing information overload. For example, right within the X app, it can summarize long tweet threads or articles people have linked.
And in other apps like Telegram.
Yeah, the Telegram integration is a great example. You can have Grok sitting in a group chat and just ask it, summarize the last 50 messages, or extract all the action items from this discussion. It can even help you draft or polish your own messages before you hit send.
That sounds incredibly useful for keeping up with team chats or long email chains. What about creating content or analyzing data in an office setting?
It's quite capable as a writing assistant. You can prompt it to draft a blog post outline, generate a first draft of a report, or write a business proposal based on some bullet points. It can also act as a pretty sophisticated editor, polishing rough text, improving clarity, adjusting the tone.
Can it handle things like spreadsheets?
To a limited extent, yes. It's not a full data analysis tool yet, but it can often interpret data in a spreadsheet if you describe it, or convert tabular data into text for analysis. And it can write simple scripts, maybe in Python, for basic office automation tasks, sorting files, organizing emails, that kind of thing.
And that real-time knowledge integration you mentioned earlier must be useful for business, too.
Hugely useful. Being able to pull in live data-breaking news, current stock prices, social media trends, and incorporate that directly into its answers is a big plus for any professional needing up-to-date information.
Can you give an example?
Sure. A marketing manager could ask Grok, what's the current online sentiment around our latest product launch? Grok could potentially scan recent news, social media posts on X, maybe even relevant blogs, and give a synthesized overview of how people are reacting right now. Plus, the voice functionality adds another layer of convenience, asking questions hands-free, dictating notes, managing schedules.
It sounds like a truly integrated and dynamic assistant. Now let's switch gears a bit. For the creative types, writers, artists, musicians, how does Grok 4 Heavy play in that space? Can it actually help expand human imagination?
Absolutely. It's proving to be a versatile tool for creative tasks as well. For writers, it can be a powerful brainstorming partner, helping generate story ideas, outline complex plots, write drafts of song lyrics or poetry.
Can it mimic specific styles?
Yes, often quite effectively. Thanks to its vast training data, you can ask it to write a short story in the style of a specific author, or a poem mimicking a certain structure or tone. And it can often capture the essence surprisingly well.
Okay, so writing support. What about visual arts or music?
For visual arts, its image generation capabilities, while still evolving, can definitely aid designers and artists. It can help rapidly prototype visual concepts, explore different aesthetic directions, or generate illustrative images based on text descriptions. Think of it as a quick way to visualize ideas.
Like that origami Cybertruck.
Exactly. It can handle conceptual or even humorous requests. And we saw with the game development example, it can handle both coding and generating basic art assets, blurring the lines between technical and creative work.
And what about audio? You mentioned it has voice capabilities, maybe even singing.
Yes, this is quite interesting. It has built-in voice and audio processing. It can generate spoken responses that sound remarkably natural. And yes, famously, the xAI team demoed it singing opera based on a simple prompt.
Seriously? Singing opera?
Apparently so. It has a default voice persona, Eve, with a British accent, and it can reportedly modulate its tone for expressiveness. This opens up all sorts of possibilities: dynamic voice acting for audiobooks or games, personalized narrated content, maybe even interactive musical applications down the line.
Wow. An AI that can code your app, tutor your kid, summarize your meetings, write a sonnet, and sing opera. It really does sound like a general-purpose AI.
That's precisely the goal. It's designed to be versatile. Whether you're an engineer, a student, a business professional, a researcher, or a creative artist, Grok aims to be an intelligent assistant across an incredibly wide range of human activities, offering a new kind of human-AI collaboration.
Okay, so with all this power and versatility, how is xAI actually getting Grok 4 into people's hands? Let's talk about the platform integrations and their deployment strategy, which seems pretty aggressive. Starting with the obvious one, its integration with X, formerly Twitter.
Yeah, the X integration is incredibly deep, which makes sense given the close ties between xAI and X. If you're a Premium Plus subscriber on X, you get direct access to Grok 4 right inside the app.
How does that look?
There's a dedicated Grok chat icon on both mobile and the web version. You can just tap it and start talking to the AI without leaving your feed. It's seamless.
And the crucial part here is the real-time data, right? That direct pipeline into the live Twitter stream.
Exactly. That's a massive strategic advantage no other major AI has. Grok can directly tap into public Twitter data as it happens. You can scan posts, see what's trending, understand the live conversation, and fold that awareness right into its answers.
So if I ask about breaking news,
it could potentially search X for the very latest posts, analyze the sentiment, and give you a summary reflecting what people are saying right now. It gives it this unique, built-in, real-time pulse on public discourse. And strategically integrating it directly into X instantly put Grok in front of millions of potential users, fitting right into X's vision of becoming an everything app.
Makes sense. But what if you don't want to use it inside X? Are there dedicated apps for a more focused experience?
Yes, absolutely. xAI also offers Grok through its own website, grok.com. It's a clean, simple chat interface for more focused work. And there are native mobile apps for both iOS and Android.
What do the dedicated apps offer?
They let you chat with Grok on the go, use voice input and output for hands-free interaction, maybe even use your phone's camera for image-based queries eventually. Everything syncs across your account, so you get a consistent experience regardless of the platform.
And that super Grok heavy subscription we talked about, the $300 one, that unlocks the full power everywhere.
That's right. If you pay for Super Grok Heavy, you get access to that powerful multi-agent reasoning mode across all the platforms, web, mobile, and within X itself.
So you can choose when to use the heavy-duty thinking power.
Exactly. The interface usually gives you some indication when the multiple agents are thinking, which, as we noted, can take longer. But it gives premium users that flexibility to invoke the deeper reasoning for really tough problems, wherever they happen to be working.
Okay, now for one of the biggest, maybe most surprising moves, the Telegram partnership. That was a huge deal, right? Reportedly $300 million.
It was a massive deal, yeah. Really caught the industry's attention. In mid-2025, xAI announced this major partnership with Telegram's founder, Pavel Durov. That $300 million figure, reported for a one-year collaboration, just shows how much value xAI placed on getting Grok integrated deeply into such a hugely popular messaging app.
So how does it work inside Telegram? How deep is the integration?
It's designed to be very pervasive. It initially rolled out to Telegram premium users, but the stated goal is to eventually make it available to all of Telegram's hundreds of millions of users.
Wow.
You can pin Grok at the top of your chats, so it's always accessible. You can query it directly from the search bar within any chat. The idea is it's just there, an AI assistant embedded in your conversations.
What are the use cases in a chat app?
Tons of potential. Summarizing long group chats is a big one. Extracting action items or decisions from rambling discussions, helping you draft or refine your messages before sending. Even generating fun stuff like custom stickers or images on the fly, right within the chat.
And for businesses using Telegram?
Big potential there too. Helping answer common customer questions in support channels, assisting with automated content moderation. It really positions Grok as this omnipresent AI assistant woven into daily communication. It's a very aggressive deployment strategy, using that huge investment to gain massive reach quickly.
Beyond these big consumer platforms, what about developers? Is xAI opening Grok up via an API for others to build on?
Yes, they are. There's a comprehensive API for Grok 4, allowing developers to integrate its intelligence into their own apps and services.
Is it easy for developers to adopt?
They've made a smart move there. The API is advertised as being compatible with OpenAI's SDKs. Since so many developers are already familiar with building on GPT-4, this makes it relatively easy for them to switch over or experiment with Grok without rewriting tons of code. It lowers the barrier significantly.
So it's not just a product, it's becoming a platform.
Exactly. The API supports the advanced features needed for real applications, like that function calling we discussed, letting Grok trigger external actions, like looking up weather or querying a database.
Yeah.
It also supports structured outputs like JSON, which is crucial for integrating AI into software workflows.
Does the API handle images too?
Yes, developers can send image data for analysis or request image generation via the API as well. Access currently requires that Super Grok subscription, but they are actively onboarding developers. We're already seeing the community build things like connectors for no-code tools like Zapier or custom Grok-powered bots.
Okay, so Telegram API. Any other interesting integrations hinted at? We hear whispers about Tesla, maybe SpaceX.
Those are definitely part of the long-term vision, but maybe not fully rolled out yet. There are strong indications of future integration into Tesla's in-car software.
Like what? An AI co-pilot?
Potentially, yeah. Imagine a super advanced voice assistant in the car, handling complex navigation queries, controlling infotainment, maybe even explaining the autonomous driving system's decisions in real time. xAI leadership has explicitly mentioned Tesla integration as a goal.
That would be a huge leap for in-car tech. What about SpaceX?
SpaceX data integration was also mentioned, suggesting Grok could potentially answer very specific questions about launches or satellite operations if given access to the right real-time data streams. Again, probably more of a future plan as the ecosystem develops.
And beyond the Musk ecosystem.
We're seeing community-driven integrations pop up, people building Grok chatbots for Discord, plugins for code editors like VS Code, third-party voice assistants using Grok Strain. The strategy is clearly aimed at making Grok ubiquitous. If there's a screen or a speaker, xAI seems to want Grok available on it.
Okay, impressive capabilities, aggressive deployment. Now, let's bring it back down to earth a bit. The reality check. What has the actual reception been like among early users and developers? What are the real-world limitations, and what's the road ahead? It can't all be perfect, right?
No, absolutely not. No AI is perfect, especially one this new and ambitious. The reception has been really interesting, a mix of genuine awe and some pretty candid criticism.
Let's start with the positive feedback. What are people genuinely impressed by when they actually use it?
Developers in particular consistently praise its raw reasoning power and the depth it provides on complex analytical tasks. It really does seem strong on those difficult math, science, and coding problems. People report it makes fewer silly calculation or logical errors than some other models.
And the step-by-step solutions.
Yes, that's frequently highlighted. It's more likely to generate structured, well-reasoned solutions, showing its work, which is great for understanding and debugging. And the large context window gets universal praise. Its ability to ingest huge documents, like entire books or long transcripts, and provide meaningful summaries or analysis is seen as a major strength compared to models that get lost in long texts.
What about the real-time aspect?
That gets mentioned a lot, too. The convenience of pulling in up-to-the-minute information, especially from X, feels very current. One developer specifically noted Grok, referencing news that had broken just minutes earlier on Twitter. And for those really hard problems, people do find the multi-agent heavy mode delivers noticeably more thorough and accurate answers, even if it's slow. It justifies the wait when precision is critical. Overall, it's seen as a real glimpse of next-gen AI assistants capable of genuine intellectual work.
Okay, that sounds like it lives up to a lot of the hype in specific areas, but you mentioned critiques and limitations. What are the common complaints or downsides people are experiencing?
One of the most frequent critiques, especially for more casual use, is that Grok can be, well, verbose. Its responses are often quite long, sometimes cluttered with extra information.
Too much information.
Sometimes, yeah. It tends to over-explain, includes details you didn't ask for, or produces outputs that can feel a bit spammy in a normal chat. This might be a side effect of its truth-seeking design. It wants to be exhaustive, but it can make answers harder to quickly digest. One user joked it uses too many words, and sometimes spits out personal info from their profile instructions unnecessarily.
So maybe less polished or concise than some competitors in conversation.
That seems to be a common feeling, yes. Which leads to another point. Inconsistency. While it aces those hard benchmarks, its performance on everyday, creative, or more open-ended tasks can be somewhat hit or miss. Meaning, sometimes it performs brilliantly, maybe at or above GPT-4 level. Other times, users report it feels less impressive, maybe giving generic answers or seeming to get lazy on certain prompts. Its very long answers aren't always more helpful. So it's not consistently superior across the board despite the benchmark wins.
Okay, verbosity, inconsistency. What about speed? That heavy mode sounds slow. Is latency a practical issue?
Latency is definitely a significant point of critique. Heavy mode, while powerful, can often take several minutes, sometimes 5-10 minutes, or even longer, for really complex requests. That's just not practical for quick back-and-forth conversation. People say they only use it when absolutely necessary for a critical, non-urgent task.
And the standard mode, is that slow too?
Even the standard Grok 4 can sometimes feel slower than competitors. This might be due to its sheer size, or the overhead from doing real-time searches, or the multi-step reasoning it employs. That trade-off between depth and speed is a real practical hurdle for everyday interactive use.
And we touched on safety and content earlier. Given the Twitter training data, there were some initial concerns. How has that played out?
Yeah, Grok was initially marketed as being less filtered, more truth-seeking, maybe even a bit rebellious compared to heavily aligned models. This did lead to some early issues, including a notable incident where a Grok-powered bot reportedly generated offensive content.
How did xAI respond?
They reacted quickly, implementing stricter safety filters and guardrails. Elon Musk himself acknowledged the model was sometimes too eager to please and needed tuning. Now, users generally report that Grok behaves more like other major chatbots. It will typically refuse harmful, illegal, or certain types of sensitive prompts.
So it's more aligned now, but is there still a debate around its approach?
There is. xAI is walking a fine line. Some users actually appreciate that Grok might provide more direct answers on, say, politically charged factual questions, where other bots might demur due to safety filters. But others worry that without extreme care and transparency in its alignment, especially given the raw Twitter data, it could still produce biased or problematic content if pushed.
Right, the source of the data matters.
Exactly. And xAI hasn't released detailed documentation on its alignment process or a formal model card, which leaves the community watchful. So compared to highly polished models like Claude or ChatGPT, Grok can still feel a bit rougher on the edges in terms of politeness, consistent safety, and predictable behavior. It's an ongoing balancing act.
Let's dig a bit deeper into the technical or strategic weaknesses. Beyond user experience, what are the core challenges for Grok 4 Heavy?
Well, first and foremost, that computational cost and the resulting latency we discuss are fundamental weaknesses. Its huge size and the multi-agent approach make it inherently slow and expensive to run. That 300-month for heavy access is a major barrier, and xAI is likely still subsidizing the cost. Scaling that affordably to millions of users is a massive engineering challenge.
Okay, cost and speed. What else?
Second, its multimodal skills, particularly vision, need improvement. While it can handle images, it's admittedly partially blind compared to its text abilities. Users find it struggles with intricate visual details sometimes, and its image generation quality isn't yet competitive with dedicated models like Midjourney. As truly multimodal AI becomes the norm, Grok needs to catch up here.
And the verbosity issue, is that just annoying or a deeper problem?
It points to a technical weakness in alignment and fine-tuning. The tendency towards overly long, sometimes irrelevant answers suggests its conversational skills aren't as refined. People often want concise, direct answers, and Grok's thoroughness, while good for complex tasks, can be counterproductive in casual use. It needs more nuanced control over output style.
Any other strategic weaknesses?
It's relatively closed. Nature is one. Being proprietary, without a public technical paper or detailed model card, hinders trust and independent research. Also, as a newer entrant, the ecosystem around Grok tutorials, libraries, community support is naturally less mature than for established players like OpenAI. That's a hurdle for broader adoption, especially in enterprise settings.
So given these challenges, what's xAI's plan? What's on the roadmap for Grok's future?
They have a very ambitious roadmap, clearly aiming to iterate quickly. A huge focus is on multimodal enhancements, significant improvements planned for both vision and audio understanding. They're talking about a truly multimodal agent soon, and even video generation and understanding potentially by late 2025.
Video generation. Wow.
Yeah, that would be a major step. They also plan to release more specialized models. So not just the general Grok, but maybe an even more optimized coding assistant, perhaps as early as August 2025. Specialization should improve performance and efficiency for specific tasks.
And tackling the speed issue.
Definitely. They're working on efficiency optimizations, trying to reduce latency, especially for the multi-agent mode, through smarter coordination or model compression techniques to make heavy, faster, and more accessible.
What about open source? Any chance of smaller Grok models being released?
xAI has publicly suggested they might release smaller open-source Grok variants in the future. That would be a big move, fostering transparency, collaboration, and likely accelerating adoption and safety research significantly.
And continued work on safety and alignment.
Yes, they've committed to ongoing iteration there. Refining the filters, using more human feedback, evaluating biases, maybe even offering users configurable personas or response styles to better balance truth-seeking with responsibility in user preference.
And the bigger picture, AGI.
That's the explicit long-term goal. Future improvements will target areas crucial for artificial general intelligence, things like long-term planning, common sense reasoning, adaptability. And integrating Grok with robotics, like Tesla's Optimus, is definitely on the horizon, aiming for intelligence that can interact with the physical world. The goal is faster, more multimodal, more accessible, safer, and ultimately more generally intelligent AI. But the competition is fierce, so they need to keep moving incredibly fast.
So wrapping this all up, what does Grok 4 Heavy really signify for us, the users, the learners, the creators trying to navigate this AI wave? It feels like a major milestone.
It really does. Grok 4 Heavy represents a significant leap in AI design and raw capability. It's technically sophisticated, deployed ambitiously, and its benchmark performance shows it pushing boundaries, solving problems that were recently out of reach for AI, from acing those math tests to helping build video games. That unique multi-agent architecture and its real-world applications set it apart. It offers a taste of a new kind of intellectual partnership.
But as we've discussed, it's not perfect. It's not the finished article.
Not at all. It's a powerful work in progress, highlighting those classic AI trade-offs. More power often means more complexity, more rough edges, the verbosity, the inconsistency sometimes, the very real hurdles of speed and cost. It's still a bit raw, as you said, and needs continued refinement and very responsible handling by both xAI and its users.
What's really striking, though, is the pace. xAI seems to be iterating incredibly quickly, with clear plans to tackle those limitations: vision, speed, consistency.
Exactly. Grok 4 Heavy gives us this potent glimpse into a future where AI isn't just a chatbot answering questions, but a genuine intellectual partner that can think through complex problems alongside us. The potential for boosting productivity, creativity, and discovery is immense.
Which leaves us with the big question.
Right. As these incredibly powerful models get more polished, faster, cheaper, and woven into everything we do, the crucial question for all of us becomes, how do we steer this? How do we responsibly guide and harness this phenomenal potential? It's an incredibly exciting, maybe slightly daunting time. The AI journey feels like it's just entering its most transformative chapter.